Hello, scholars. Happy Wednesday. I hope that you are having a great start to your day and are ready to focus on our next lesson. Okay. Yesterday, we talked about natural resources, right? And those are the things that come from the earth. We named a few: land, water, air, right? And how they're super important to people, right? Today, Mother Earth is going to teach you about 3 ways in which you can help create less garbage, okay, in our landfills. Okay, so 3 ways that we can actually help reduce, which means to make less, okay, less garbage in our landfills. Okay, we're going to learn about how to reduce, reuse, and recycle. Can you repeat those with Mrs. Jean? Reduce, reuse, recycle. Those are called the 3 R's. So Mrs. G says, what are the 3 R's? You would say reduce, reuse, and recycle. Okay, and we're going to learn more about those today. So in our read aloud today, I want you to listen for ways that reducing, reusing, and recycling can help conserve or protect, right? Conserve means protect natural resources. Okay, so I want you to think about that as Mother Earth is reading to you. Okay, all right, I'm going to share my screen with you. And here we are. Remember, use your imagination. Mother Earth is speaking to you. Mrs. G went away for a little bit, okay? All right. Let me just put this up here a little bit so that way when I get to there we go. Okay. So kids, how much trash does good old Earth have to deal with every year? Let me ask that another way. How much trash do the people on good old Earth generate or make each year? Well, I'm not here to scold you or to try to make you feel guilty, but let's just say that people generate an extremely large amount of trash. So when you look at this picture, what do you think the artist, so the person who drew this picture, is trying to say about the earth? So Mrs. G is back. She's talking now. I want you to look at this picture and look at the earth and what is pictured, what this artist drew, okay? What do you think the person who drew this is trying to say about the earth? Okay, and what's more, you're really the only creatures on the planet who generate any trash. You won't see a bear or a deer putting trash in a trash can. That would be pretty funny, huh? You won't see a monkey in the jungle using a paper napkin to wipe her face. And you probably won't see dogs and cats drinking their water out of plastic bottles. People make trash, so you're the ones who are responsible for taking care of it. Every year, people in the United States generate billions of bags full of trash, plus all kinds of other trash that doesn't fit in bags, like old refrigerators and broken furniture. Imagine how much trash is generated worldwide, meaning in the entire world. Where does all that trash end up? Can you remember the name of the place in this picture? Do you remember what this place is called that the picture is showing you? It's a landfill. There is an incredible amount of trash buried in landfills, but it doesn't have to be this way. What do you think you can do to cut back on the amount of trash you throw away each year? After all, wouldn't you like to keep as much land as possible clean and green like the place in this picture? So, Mrs. G talking now, when you look at this picture, how is this picture different from the picture of the landfill? So I'm going to go back and I'm going to show you. Do you see this picture here? Look at this picture, and then I want to go back to the picture of the landfill. Okay, what are the differences that you notice? Okay, you can share that with somebody at your house, okay? Okay, here we go. And people make trash, so you're the ones who are responsible for taking care of it. Okay, we already did that one. Okay, here we go. What do you think you can do to cut back on the amount of trash you throw away each year? After all, wouldn't you like to keep as much land as possible clean and green like the place in this picture? Well, I'm about to teach you 3 important words. If you pay close attention and try to put some of my words into action, then you can really start to make an important difference in the world. When it says putting something or words, someone's words into action, it just means that you're acting on and you're doing what he or she says. That's what that means, okay? Those three words are reduce, reuse, and recycle. Say them a few times. Reduce, reuse, recycle. One more time. Reduce, reuse, recycle. The three R's. Why do you think they're called the three R's? Reuse, reduce, recycle. When you reduce the amount you use of something, you use less of it, okay? So, what do you see in this picture? You see some what? Paper towels, right? On the left is a roll of paper towels. On the right is a paper towel dispenser like the one that you might have in the restroom at your school. Why do you think I'm showing you these pictures? What does this have to do with the word reduce? Let's say you wash your hands in the restroom. Instead of grabbing a huge hunk of paper towels, try just using one. By reducing the number of paper towels that you use, you can do two very important things. First, you will reduce the number of trees that get cut down to make paper towels, and that's a really good thing. Second, you will reduce the amount of trash that goes to a landfill. So remember, whether you're using paper towels, toilet paper, or any other kind of paper, reduce, reduce, reduce. Don't use more than you really need. Okay, so remember that reduce means less. You're using less, okay? What does it mean to reuse something? It means that you use it again. If you try, you can probably think of lots of ways to reuse paper. Do you like to draw? Before you ball up a piece of paper, used paper, and throw it away, flip it over and see if there's anything on the back. If it's blank, draw a picture on the other side, like this nice one that a child drew of a house on a bright spring day. Then take it home and hang it up on the refrigerator or bulletin board. Trust me, it will look great and nobody will ever know or care that there is something on the other side. Reducing and reusing are two important ways to make sure you don't send too much trash off to the landfill, but the very best way is by recycling. This is the recycling symbol. The arrows in the symbol remind you that many things can actually be made into other things, okay? So a symbol is a picture that represents a word or idea, and this is the recycling symbol, okay? Just in different colors, okay? Whoops. Recycling is sort of like reusing. When you recycle something, however, you turn it into something completely different. For example, your plastic juice bottle can be recycled and made into something else that is plastic. All the plastic that is collected in recycling bins is taken to factories where it is melted down into liquid plastic and then made into something else. So a plastic bottle that you put in the recycling bin might end up as part of a new plastic toy. Isn't that neat? That's pretty neat. Now that you know what it looks like, you might start noticing the recycling symbol in more places. Often you'll see these three arrows on a bin like this one, so you'll know to put recycled materials in it. A recycling bin is kind of like a trash can, except the things you put in here won't go to a landfill. They will be turned into other things. So Mrs. G talking about in our classroom, we have a recycle bin. Remember, it's in the front of the classroom. We put plastic bottles in there, right? And Mrs. G has it in our classroom. And that's what this looks like, right? Here is a picture of different things that most people use almost every day. All of these things can be recycled. Newspapers, mail, and cardboard boxes are all paper products. All of them come from trees, and all of them can be recycled instead of thrown into a trash can. Glass bottles and jars, aluminum soda cans, metal soup cans, and plastic bottles are all recyclable too. What's more, all of these things are made from natural resources, which means the more you recycle, the more natural resources you conserve. You might be wondering, Why does all that trash end up in the landfills if most of it can actually be reused or recycled? That's a good question to ask, and it's one that you'll learn about later. For now, however, I just want you to make sure you remember those three important R words: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Let's say it again: reduce, reuse, and recycle. Okay, we're going to keep going because I don't want this video to be too long, but we have to learn about another important thing about taking care of our earth, and Mrs. G just has to pull it up here, okay? And I will pull it up, and it's going to be this one here. Remember, I told you I was going to put 2 lessons into one, right? And that is what we are going to be doing next. So our next one is about recycling, okay? So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna just go ahead and jump right in, okay? So here's Mother Earth again talking to you, okay? I asked an artist to make a picture with these green recycling arrows on top of me. I hope this will help you remember that recycling is very healthy for good old Earth. Recycling is so important that I have come back to tell you even more about it, just to make sure that you understand how much good you are doing when you recycle something. The very first step in the recycling process, though, is that instead of throwing recyclable materials away in an ordinary trash can, you must put these things aside and save them in another container, like a recycling bin. Once you have saved a lot of things to be recycled, they need to be brought to a place called a recycling center. Sometimes people bring their own recyclables directly to the recycling center. In this picture, you can see a place with several large bins of different colors. People can bring all their recyclable materials here, but everything has to go in the right place. Glass goes in one bin, cans go in another, paper in another, and so on. I don't know about you, but I think recycling is very interesting. Here's a colorful recycling picture. Can you guess what's being recycled in this picture? When you look at this picture, can you guess what's being recycled? What it might be? This is a picture of plastic bottle tops. All these bottle tops were collected at a recycling center. Then they were taken to a plastic recycling factory where they were pressed together in a big, colorful mismatch. Later, these bottle tops will be melted down into liquid so that they can be remodeled and turned into something new made of plastic. Okay? What's in this picture? Here are some cans made out of metal called aluminum. Maybe you have had drinks that come in cans like these. If you throw a can away into a trash can and send it off to a landfill, it will take at least 500 years for that aluminum can to break down and decompose. But if you put the same can in a recycling bin instead, the aluminum metal can be reused and the cans don't have to be buried in a landfill. Let's take a closer look at how cans are recycled. This diagram or drawing shows what happens when you recycle an aluminum can. Aluminum is a natural resource that is mined and dug out of the earth. From there, it goes to a factory, okay? Goes to a factory, Mrs. G lost her spot. From there, it goes to a factory where the raw aluminum is made into metal cans that can be filled with things, like soda. After you buy a can of soda and drink it, you are left with an old, used can. You can throw the can in the garbage, but then it will end up in a landfill. A better, more responsible solution is to put the empty can into a recycling bin. These cans have already been sorted and cleaned at a recycling center and are now at a special recycling factory for aluminum. Workers at the recycling factory crush the cans and melt them down in a big cooker with lots of other cans and turn them into something else. What are these bottles made of? These bottles are made of green glass, but glass also comes in other colors like brown and clear. If you toss bottles like these in the trash, they would be hauled away to a landfill. Some kinds of glass take about 3,000 years to decompose. That's a long time. Luckily, many glass items can be recycled instead. At the glass recycling factory, the glass is crushed into little pieces. Crushed glass is then put into a very hot furnace and melted into a super hot glowing liquid. With enough heat, glass melts just like ice. Here is a little piece of glass that has been heated up so much that it is just about to melt and turn into liquid. Now imagine a big pot full of little bits of glass like this, all eventually melting together into a thick, hot, syrupy liquid. That's what you would find at a glass recycling factory. This picture shows the inside of a bottle making factory. These are freshly made bottles. They are so hot you dare not touch them. But they'll be cool and hard again soon, and maybe they'll turn into be green bottles, just like the ones you saw earlier. Recycling really isn't hard to do, but I'll admit that it does require a little bit of extra work. Taking the time to decide whether to throw something away in the garbage can or whether to put it in the recycling bin doesn't always make it to the top of the to-do list, but it is really worth the time to take care of good old Earth. Be sure to ask yourself the next time you use a bottle, a can, or anything else, is it recyclable? Can I conserve natural resources by making it into something useful again? All right, so that was, I know Miss G went a little fast, but I didn't want this video to be super long since there were 2 lessons into one, okay? But we talked about recycling. We talked about the 3 R's, right? Reuse, reduce, and recycle. Okay, Mrs. G is going to go quickly over your assessment for this lesson, okay? And then we will go ahead and get you on your way. Your exit ticket is, what are the 3 R's? What are the 3 R's? Now, for this one, if your mom wants to, or dad wants to take a video of you saying the 3 R's, you can send that to your teacher too, for a picture of you writing what the 3 R's are, okay? I know you do a lot of writing, so maybe if you want to do a video, that would be great too, okay? Mrs. G will see you tomorrow, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.